It's 5 Live, it's 2:39. We're live in Leeds at the Hyde Park Picture House.
The thing with Lesbian Vampire Killers is this. As you probably know, it's open to some pretty poor reviews. Before I saw it, a friend of mine who's a fancy film journalist, Alan Jones, who I respect very much, had seen it. And he said, you know what? Actually, visually, it's really good. They've really gone to a lot of trouble to get the visuals right. And that kind of impressed me. And I thought, oh, well, you know, maybe it's not going to be bad after all. And basically, it's the story of these two guys who decide for various reasons, which is not worth going into, that they're going to go on a hiking holiday. They go off on this hiking holiday. If you've seen the trailer, you know this already. They arrive in this tiny little village in which everybody turns into a lesbian vampire at the age of, is it 18? Is that right? And then they see a group of women getting out. I say women. They see a group of sort of pneumatic young persons getting out of a camper van. They end up in the cottage. Vampire stuff happens. And should we play a clip? Can we do a sound clip in the cinema? Can they all hear it?
I thought you might have checked this out before.
Let's find out. Here's a clip from Lesbian Vampire Killers.
What was that?
I don't know. Let's go find out.
Is she serious?
We have to do something, don't we?
This is all getting a bit weird, eh? Women going missing, towels covered in blood.
Well, it's not really covered. It's more of a light spotting.
Oh, that's all right, then. Look, we heard her in here not 1 minute ago, and now she's nowhere to be seen. That, my friend, is very weird.
Agreed, but come on, man. We have to find Trudy. You like Trudy, don't you?
Not that much.
So, obviously, James Corden and Matthew Horne, who came on the show before.
Yes, and I told them what you thought.
See, the problem with it is, I actually think that they are quite funny. I mean, I think that they are quite funny guys. And I think when I went in to see it, I was hoping that some of that funniness would come off on screen. The problem is that there's a central imbalance in Lesbian Vampire Killers, which is that they've gone to a lot of trouble to get the visuals right. If you're a fan of old Hammer horror movies and the way in which they're lit, it is quite interesting. It's somebody in that film has an artistic sensibility and has actually sat down and worried about the way it looks. What's bizarre then is that having gone to all that trouble, all they can do is have the two blokes have the same interaction all the way through, which in a slightly sort of toned down fashion for broadcast purposes is that one of them goes, "Ooh, I'm a little bit fumbly, and the other one goes, "Blimey," although it's not blimey. And that's it. That's the joke all the way through, is that the thin one goes, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh," and then the other one goes, "Blimey," only not like that. And it's again and again and again and again. And after about the fourth or fifth time, you think, come on, you guys are funnier than this. There was an interview with them on Film 2009, in which they said that the thing that really attracted them to the project was the script. Now, I know everyone always says the thing that really attracted me to the project was the script, but they said it like they actually meant it. And it said that we'd read the script and we wanted to do it, and the project was on, and then it was off, and then it came round again. In fact, it looks like the only thing that would attract you to it is the other side. You say, I think the title Lesbian Vampire Killers might pull people in. We can get adverts on the side of buses, and I think it's going to look quite stylish. But you know what? The script is a total dog's dinner. And Simon and I saw this together, and we sat there in the cinema. This film
Were
started...
you saying I couldn't tweet through it?
No, you're not allowed to tweet during the film. You have to watch the film and then tweet afterwards. It's really not that hard to get your head around
but
that.
during Lesbian Vampire Killers, I think it's quite easy
No, it's
to tweet
not.
and
It's
watch
not.
it at the same time.
No, you can't start making a kind of a quality judgment on the film as to whether it's good enough to not turn your mobile phone off in.
Lots of people are tweeting. There are a lot of people tweeting here.
Yeah, but I'm not a film.
Yes, but you're more entertaining than Lesbian Vampire Killers.
Yes, no, but that's possibly the case. But you cannot sit there in the cinema and make the decision that the film isn't worth turning your mobile phone off for. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to wait till the end. So we're in the middle of it, and the film starts.
Excuse me. After 10 minutes, I leaned over and I said, "What do you think?" He said, "It's rubbish." I got my phone out.
Yeah, but crucially, I didn't lean over to you and say, "It's rubbish." You started it, because as you know, what I would normally do is sit there in the cinema and watch the thing play out. And I have to say that the disappointment was palpable, because it wasn't like going in to say, "Oh, it's Lesbian Vampire Killers, therefore it's going to be, it's just going to be rubbish," and I don't have any expectation, because I like those two guys. I think they've both done funny stuff in the past, whether it's History Boys or on television. I think, individually they've both done interesting stuff, and I think that there is a visual sensibility in there, and somewhere in that project, somebody is attempting to make a film that actually looks half decent. And to come out of it and only be able to say, "Well, it's better than Zombie Strippers," is really... No, but that's really not enough, because there is, as you probably all know...
Let's just find out. Did anyone see Zombie Strippers? Shout yes if you saw Zombie Strippers. So, therefore, that comparison doesn't help us.
OK, it's better than Surf Nazis Must Die.
OK, has anyone seen Surf Nazis Must Die?
Right,
try something else.
third time lucky. It's better than Teenage Nymphoid Barbarian in Dinosaur Hell.
I'm not even going to ask.
Right, OK, well, it's only that good. And beyond that, it's not better than... I mean, obviously, it's better than Marley and Me, which is like having a root canal done. But, I mean, you know, frankly, a nosebleed is funnier than Marley and Me. And in the case of Lesbian Vampire Killers, it was worsened by the fact that it actually looked like they tried to make a proper film and that they tried to make something that was visually funny. I mean, horror comedy is a very hard thing to pull off because you have to do the horror and the comedy. That's why the classic cases would be like The Evil Dead, which is so terrifying that actually it was on the video nasties list and the Director of Public Prosecutions accused it of being, you know, obscene, therefore, you know, potentially depraving and corrupting. That's a proper horror comedy which is actually scary and funny. Or the sort of the ne plus ultra of the genre, which is American Werewolf in London, which everyone who's seen it knows, yes, it's really funny, but the werewolf transformation sequence in it is a brilliant werewolf transformation scene. In the case of Lesbian Vampire Killers, it's just those two blokes going da-da-da-da-da-da-da, blimey, but not blimey, all the way through, and a sort of, you know, that knowing self-awareness about, oh, look, we know we're doing a kind of post-feminist take on all this, so it's all right to make all these gags. And again, I feel like, did I miss a meeting somewhere? At what point did all those gags become acceptable again? Because I thought during the punk wars we all stopped all that sort of thing, but apparently not.
American Werewolf is what?
American Werewolf is the ne plus ultra of the comedy horror. Without, you know, you can't go any further than that.
Ne plus ultra.
Ne plus ultra, as opposed to sine qua non. Sine qua non, without which not. Ne plus ultra, you can't go further than that.
I realise that.
Keep up.
I realised that. I was just checking.
Okay.
That's exactly what you were talking about.
You're being quite chippy about it, though, aren't you?
I think I'm being encouraged.
Okay, fine. Okay.
So, so if you're tempted to see Lesbian Vampire Killers on the basis of Mark's review, could you say yes now? Oh, my word. I would have thought you're still going to go, aren't you? You see, I still think that people won't admit to it.
No, I mean,
actually it's going to do quite well.
Well, I think people will, because I do still think that there is that, from looking at the trailer and from looking at the people that are in it, because I do think those guys are both funny. And when they came on the programme, were they funny?
Well, they weren't trying to be funny. So, I mean, they were talking about their sketch show.
Yes.
On BBC Three, which isn't that funny.
Isn't it? I haven't seen it.
But is slightly funnier than
Lesbian Vampire. Because you saw Lesbian Vampire Killers and you thought...
I thought it was extremely disappointing.
Right. Did you tell them that you thought it was extremely disappointing?
They said, what do you think? And I rather artfully gave them your opinion.
Did you?
Which I think I was quite pleased about. OK, so that's Lesbian Vampire Killers. What are we going to do next?